Fallout from the brawl between the Fever and the Sun, and we're going to take a deep dive into what's making the Atlanta Dream tick so far. Big Locked On Women's Basketball starts now.
You are Locked On Women's Basketball, your daily podcast on women's basketball. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Locked On Women's Basketball. I'm your host, Howard Megdal. I want to thank you for making us your first listen every day. More than 350,000 of you showed up in May alone, the way we show up for you 6 days a week with even more to come. Oh, yeah, that's a teaser for the next few days. It is not just me. It is the incredible team across the board at thenexthoops.com, where we have over 100 reported pieces every month. Make sure you subscribe. $9 a month, $72 a year. It all just gets sent to your inbox all the time, 24/7, 365. Thenexthoops.com. We have a lot to get to today. I'm going to share with you conversations I had last night up at Barclays Center, where we had the chance to talk to Brittney Griner, had the chance to talk to Jordin, Canada, Te-Hina, Paopao, and others. I'm going to share with you the Atlanta Dream. Really interesting. Segment 2, Segment 3 coming up. Segment 1, got to get to this. It was not a normal one between the Indiana Fever and the Connecticut Sun. I'm sure you have seen the clip by now, the clips really, because officials didn't keep it under control. And then you saw what happened next. So I want to turn this over to Stephanie White. First, listen to what she says, but pay attention to the way in which she does it. We'll be right back. More after this.
Is there an explanation were you given for the tech that you got?
I'll take the official questions. There wasn't an explanation for the tech that she got. You know, I think it was pretty obvious that stuff was brewing, right? When the officials don't get control of the ball game, when they allow that stuff to happen, and it's been happening all season long. All season long. It's not just this game. It's been happening all season long. This is what happens, right? This is what happens. You've got competitive women who are the best in the world at what they do, right? And when you allow them to play physical and you allow these things to happen, they're going to compete. And they're going to have their teammates' backs. It's exactly what you expect, right, out of fierce competition. So I started talking to the officials in the first quarter, and we knew this was going to happen. You could tell it was going to happen. So they got to get control of it. They got to be better. They got to be better.
Can you specifically detail what you mean by get control of the game, just to be in your words?
Get control of the game is call the fouls that are actually happening on the floor. Right, and consistently call the fouls that are actually happening on the floor. Okay, not just if somebody swings and misses, right? Consistently call the fouls.
Coach, do you think it's something pertaining to your team, or do you think this is a league-wide issue?
Well, I've seen quite a few dust-ups in the league so far, so I think it's a league-wide issue. I mean, bad officiating is bad officiating.
And then what did you make of Sophie Cunningham's flagrant foul on JC towards the end?
It was a flagrant foul.
Do you think it's like defending Caitlin or defending the team, or how do you view just how it all?
I view it as a flagrant foul.
So that's Stephanie White, and that's Caitlin Clark with the best I'm not going to get fined facial expressions I've seen in a very long time. But again, let's talk about a few things, just the technical aspect of that. That's such a veteran coach move by Steph White. Like, all right, I'm going to step in here. I'm going to make sure my star player doesn't get fined or, suspended or whatever she would say or do. I'm going to take the heat for this one. Be interesting. In the league, let's just be real. The league fines people, but doesn't necessarily announce it. League ought to be announcing this as part of just getting ahead of discipline. But anyway, I digress. Stephanie White said what she felt she had to say. It is, to be clear, not different than what you will hear around the league from players, coaches, general managers alike. That brawl was preventable, I believe. And I say that because this is a game that got out of hand over time. This is how it happens. When a brawl occurs, it is not because usually there is a particular axe to grind. And of course, anytime Caitlin Clark is involved, the conversation is always going to be, oh, there must be an axe to grind. It's not how this works. And I'm just telling you this as somebody who has had the privilege of covering every player involved in what happened last night. People contain multitudes. People are capable of simultaneously working for the growth of the game off the court and on the court, wanting to beat each other desperately and stopping at nothing to do it. The comparison I always give to people when they try and say, is it one or the other, is Sylvia Fowles. Sweet Sil is her nickname. If you see Sylvia Fowles in a room with a baby, the babies gravitate to Sil. Is just, that's who she is. But God help you if you tried to get to the basket when Sylvia Fowles was in the paint during her playing career, because she's both, because these are competitors. These are people playing at the highest level and working like crazy to beat one another. And when the officials are not making it clear what is and is not a foul, to Stephanie White's point, it's going to get out of control because you're going to push the envelope. If you are a competitor, you are just going to do it. And the rules of the road need to be firmly established. They need to be consistent within a game. Listen, in a perfect world, from game to game, but at the very least within game. Again, this is, when you talk to anyone around the league, what they will say. It is not an easy job to be an official, but it's something that needs to be better. And Brittney Griner made that clear in a recent clip, I'm sure you saw as well. So it'll be interesting to see what is done about that. It's probably a whole other show, but there's training, there's additional ways that you can bring the standard up and invest in it. And as the league is investing in a lot of things, this is a critical part that the league needs to invest in as well. In terms of the fallout from what happened, J.C. Sheldon is a very physical defender. Whether or not it was on purpose to poke Caitlin Clark in the eye is an open question. The bigger thing to me, Marina Mabry comes over and knocks down Caitlin Clark. You got to eject her in that moment. Again, it got out of hand because of what led up to it, but I think you got to eject in that scenario. And then, ultimately Sophie Cunningham coming down, that was the correct answer, was to eject her at that point. If there had been consequences earlier, do you avoid that in that moment? Certainly Steph White was not arguing in favor of Sophie Cunningham not being ejected or that not being a flagrant foul when she went after J.C. Sheldon. These teams are going to meet up again. It's going to be in Boston. It's going to be a big-time crowd. We will be there at the next, of course, and Locked On Women's Basketball with double-barreled coverage from both sides of it. Going to be fascinating, but give the Sun credit. They are not lying down. They are fighting hard, and Indiana is now on to the Commissioner's Cup championship. They're going to be facing Minnesota on July 1st. That's going to be a really good one. Really looking forward to that. A team that almost reached the Commissioner's Cup, but did not by the narrowest of margins at Barclays Center last night, was the Atlanta Dream. I spoke to a bunch of players from the Dream, along with head coach Carl Smesko, some other folks around. I want to share the intel of what I'm bringing back from that, because the Dream are a team to be reckoned with, and we want to talk all about that. Back after this, I'm Howard Megdal, and you are listening to Locked On Women's Basketball. Locked On Women's Basketball is brought to you by Game Time. There is nothing other than the WNBA playoffs quite like the NBA playoffs. The intensity, the buzzer beaters, the fans losing their minds. It's kind of atmosphere you must experience live. And God bless them, the Indiana Fever, they've allowed the Indiana Pacers, the NBA team, this is men's basketball, to play at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. So what a thrill that must be for the Pacers to get that opportunity to play on the same court as Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark. So Game Time allows you to see any of those games, and you can score tickets easily. Game Time Guarantee also makes sure your tickets are 100% authentic, will arrive on time, and that you will always get the best price with fees included. So what you see is what you pay. Take the guesswork out of this. Buy tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Howard Megdal here, Locked On Women's Basketball. Segment 2, let's talk Atlanta Dream. Number 1 and 2 offenses in the WNBA right now. Last year's finals teams, Minnesota Lynx, New York Liberty. Made sense. And then there comes the Dream. They're third. They were 11th last year in offensive efficiency. New York Liberty beat them 86-81. And it's a big deal that New York won that game because Atlanta played really well. Atlanta had a 17-point lead at one point in this one. Some big changes, though, on the Liberty side in game made the difference. I'm going to take you over to our Jackie Powell, who will take you inside Barclays and what happened, how the Liberty managed to escape. Jackie?
Hi, Locked On Women's Basketball. It's Jackie Powell reporting live from Barclays Center, where the New York Liberty defeated the Atlanta Dream 86-81. Both Maureen Johannes and Natasha Cloud struggled early on, but a switch flipped for both of them, and they made key plays that helped New York get this win.
Also, my teammates, since they know I was really disappointed with my first half, like I said, so everyone had like a little word for me. And,
What did Andrew say to you?
just to switch, forget about the first half, to stay aggressive and play hard.
I think Marine focused a lot on defense, like I did, and allowed her defense to bring her offense, which was great for us. But MJ was huge for us today. I think she was like a plus 23 in that second half, her jersey numbers. So it's just good to see her feeling more of herself the last few games, because MJ is a huge reason as to why we're going to win games.
Natasha Cloud's rap, by the way, on point. I wish I had 1/1,000,000th of her style. But again, big win for New York. Really impressive to see. And a big win because beating Atlanta, even at home right now, is the type of challenge it wasn't a year ago. And so I want to talk a little bit about why. We're going to talk the bigs in segment 2. Segment 3, we're going to talk about the two-headed monster at point guard, because that cannot be overlooked. But I want to start here. During the offseason, the Atlanta Dream signed Brittney Griner and Bree Jones. These are two all-star level players. BG right now, she could retire and would be a first ballot Hall of Famer. But the question was, and this was one that I had as well, in this league at this time, can you play the efficient level of offense with two bigs? Can you stretch the floor enough? Is it a failure of imagination if you can't have 5 players who are capable of stretching the floor at all times? Here's where the failure of imagination came in. Thinking that Brittney Griner was just the Mercury version of herself. And what this staff has done is incredible. And I just watched it pregame. I watched BG. She talked to us, and then she went out and she did her shooting. And she's going around the horn, just shooting it from beyond the arc, just adding and adding and adding to her game. And before the game was 2 minutes old, BG had hit her first 3. This was not part of the plan offensively for her for over a decade. And part of why Phoenix moved on from Brittney Griner was this idea of her own limitations. And instead, Dan Padover and the Atlanta Dream decided, no, we can work with that. It turns out you can. So that's really interesting. And we'll hear from BG in a moment. But I just want to highlight, again, Bree Jones was out there pregame. And she's working with Brandy Poole, who I've talked about on this show. And she's been a guest here multiple times, right? Adding her to the staff was connective tissue. This is not just a brilliant basketball mind and someone who's done incredible work in the WNBA and at college before it. This is somebody who worked directly with Bree Jones in Connecticut when Bree Jones had to reinvent her game multiple times, had to reinvent her game when John Paul Jones sat out the wobble season, had to reinvent her game when Alyssa Thomas got hurt, and suddenly the Sun had to reinvent themselves offensively and defensively on the fly. And so seeing Bree Jones do this, somebody who came into this league as your standard 5, playing in Maryland, incredibly efficient, and absolutely a creature of at the rim. It's not a shock, but it's incredible to see. So I want you to hear from BG about the ways in which this team is operating together so far. And as you do, I just want you to keep this number in mind. The bottom line was that folks thought, well, they'll probably have to alternate them on and off the floor a lot. And they're doing a very good job of that. Carl Smesko is doing a very good job of using one or the other at different times. But they have already played 148 minutes together. One of the highest two-person lineup totals. Thank you, stats.wnba.com. And their net rating is a 6.0 on the floor together already. The assist percentage for the two of them on the floor, 72.2%. So ball is moving, ball is not sticking. People are finding each other, and a 104 offensive rating, 98 defensive rating. Again, a net positive on offense, a net positive on defense, a net positive overall. These two are working together really well, and they're doing it in the first 12 games. It's hard to imagine how much better they're going to get beyond that. So listen to what BG has to say about this, because it's really important, and note the context about the way in which they're getting better. I'm Howard Megdal. You're listening to Locked On Women's Basketball.
You know, we got something special going on right now. Coach got us playing real well. Felice, Rod, they're shooting the ball very well right now for us, and I mean, doing a lot more than just shooting the ball well. They're locked in on defensive schemes. We're executing. Everybody's pulling everybody along to be great. And me and Bree getting used to ATL and being here, and it's been really good.
Brittney, when we talked to Coach, he said he was almost a little surprised at how quickly you and Bree are able to find your spots on the floor. Can you just kind of take me what that's like for you, possession by possession, and sort of how it's happening?
Yeah, so, Coach definitely challenged us this year, to play a little bit out of our comfort zone, not always just being on the low block, playing out a little bit, being out on the perimeter, stretching the court out, even though, we got two traditional bigs in there, we're still able to stretch the floor. You see Bree from behind the arc, and it's just been really good. I've been really loving playing with Bree, getting that chemistry down. It's been good.
And just related to that, I remember you being so excited when you took your first 3 at an all-star game. Yeah. Now you're in an offense where it's encouraged to be shooting from all spots. Are you having more fun at the offensive end than you ever have?
I am. I'm definitely having way more fun on offense now. Our league is changing. The game is changing. We're stretching it out more. Everybody's shooting from the arc. You got to respect everybody from, out there behind the arch now. And it's good to see. I'm glad to be able to be a part of it, too.
You obviously have championship experience, and I'm wondering, when you see this team in year one get off to the start it is, what needs to happen between now and the end of the year for this to be a team that ends with a championship?
Just keep meshing together. I feel like each game, we're not going backwards. We don't, correct something and then go backwards in the next game on something else. We're taking our scouting report and it's translating onto the court. Each game we're getting better and better at executing our scouts, being locked in on everything. And if we keep doing that and trending that way, staying healthy, I think we definitely will be there.
So again, Brittney Griner with championship experience, she knows how to get there. Talking about the steps are just moving forward, that it's linear, that there isn't an ebb and flow to it. And again, hear how she mentioned Jordin, Canada, Te-Hina, Paopao, getting the ball into these folks inside. I am not ignoring the fact that Ryan Howard is incredible on this team, and Alicia Gray, the reigning conference player of the week, is on this team. But again, these are the givens, right? What do you have around these two? that make them even better. And it's the bigs. And after this break, it's the dueling point guards. So more to come here. Howard Megdal here. You are listening to Locked On Women's Basketball. Locked On Women's Basketball is brought to you by Olipop. And Olipop is a new kind of soda. Now, they'll tell you it's made for people who love the classic taste of soda, but want something that supports their health. And they're not wrong, with just 2 to 5 grams of sugar and 9 grams of probiotic fiber in every can. Olipop is reimagining soda in a way that's even better for your gut. I'm here to tell you that I have a person who lives in my house, 11 years old, and she's not a soda person. But we got Olipop sent over to us, and she loves the apple. She drinks it regularly, really enjoys it. Again, she's not a carbonation person. She said not too much, not too little, just the right amount of carbonation. And she loves the fact that it's healthier for her to drink. And frankly, as a parent, I do too. So check it out for yourself. Get a free can of Olipop. Just buy any 2 cans in store, and they'll reimburse you for one. Head to drinkolipop.com/lockedonnba to claim your free can and find Olipop near you. That's drinkolipop.com/lockedonnba. Olipop, OLIPOP. Howard Megdal here, Locked On Women's Basketball. Back here in segment 3. And we can't talk about what the Atlanta Dream are doing without talking about the 2 players at point guard that they have going on right now. And I'm delighted that these shows are all recorded and saved, because you can go back and look at me saying, oh my God, how did the Atlanta Dream get Te-Hina Paopao in the 2nd round? Pick 18 in this draft. Well, she scored another 16 last night. She had 16 the game before. 16 points in 15 and a half minutes. So, that's fine. She can run point as a rookie in the WNBA, which is so hard to do by itself. And then she just goes out and scores 16. So I talked to her a little bit about this, about the way in which Dawn Staley prepared her on both sides of the ball. There's a shock, right? Oh, somebody played for Dawn and now is excelling in the WNBA. How many times have I said that? And we talked to Jordin Canada, and Jordin Canada being back. I spent a lot of time on CBB Analytics shot charts. As you know, it is my happy place. And you can look at the differences, and you can see that Rhyne Howard is getting more of her opportunities in more, let us say, Carl Smesko-friendly spots since Jordin came back. Jordin and Te-Hina are different sizes. They operate in different ways defensively. Jordin creates her own matchup issues with her speed, her change of pace. It's just about the perfect setup for a 2-headed point guard, which is what they've got here at this point. You can play them together as well, because Te-Hina is so good off the ball, and Jordin Canada is a very good off the ball shooter as well. And they're all getting better shot opportunities here in this offense. So let's hear from the 2 of them. Got to catch up with each last night, and then I'll be back with some final thoughts. I'm Howard Megdal. You're listening to Locked On Women's Basketball. Here with Jordin Canada, talking about this Atlanta Dream team. And when you look at offensive efficiency during the last 4 games you've been out there, your numbers as a team have overall gotten better and better. Carl was talking about the adjustment. Does it feel at this point like this is, again, your team running it at this point?
I think everybody shares the responsibility of running this team, to be honest. I think one of the strengths that I bring to this team is pushing the pace, and that's what I try to do ever since I've come back. Knowing that this is, my 5th game back, just trying to get the feel for being with, the starting lineup and the team the players that come in. Just trying to make sure I do my part in doing what I can and pushing the pace and making sure I'm getting everybody involved.
Someone I was obviously getting involved was Rhyne Howard, which, we knew coming into the year she would have to assume not just a big role, but a more efficient role. She's getting more of her shots in spots that I think are native to Carl's offense. What are you seeing from her, and how is that connection growing here in year 2?
Ryan can get to her spots easily, and she's so effortless when she does it. And I think me coming into the lineup is just giving her more easy looks and not having her to create all the time and running the point and trying to make sure she gets her shots as well. So when I'm in the game, just making sure I'm cognizant of getting Lee's shots, Ryan's shots, and making sure they get into their spots.
Having the two bigs has been something that, was a real talking point coming into the year. Carl said he was a little surprised it has worked as quickly as it has. What are you seeing from those two possession by possession that's allowing them to get to their spot specifically?
I think they're being aggressive and getting to their spots, and they're also sharing the ball with each other, and that's something that has helped our offense as well. Is that when one person is hot, we're feeding them, and vice versa. And they're very unselfish players. So I think them just feeding off of each other has helped our offense flow a lot better and a lot more.
You know what it takes to win a championship. These are types of tests that come along the way. Is that sort of the internal conversation right now when you guys, it's not just about championship, Commissioner's Cup, and reaching that, but also testing yourself against the defending champs?
Yeah, of course. I mean, New York is the defending champs, like you said. They're a really great team, and it shows when they play. And I think for us, we're just focused on us and how we can get better and how we can grow as a team and what are the areas that we can improve on. And knowing that this is still early in the season, we can always grow and get a little bit better. And Carl talks about that every single day. It's the little details that matter and just honing in on those details and coming out here and playing to the best of our ability.
The last one for me, just offensively, what is it that allows this team to be as good as it is this soon on that end of the floor?
We're unselfish. Like I said, we all want each other to succeed. So whoever's hot, we continue to feed them. We support each other on the floor. We have each other's backs. And that's what's the sign of a great team is when, we don't care who gets the ball. We don't care who is scoring the most points at the end of the day. As long as we get the win, that's the most important thing. And like I said, locking in on the details, on the little things, that's going to help us get over that hump and take us to the next step.
Te-Hina, I just want to talk first about your breakout game the other night. Obviously, it's nothing we haven't seen you do, frankly, at multiple stops along the way. But, what was it that allowed you think, to find your shot as consistently as you did?
I mean, that's what I'm here to do is to make shots and make the open threes that it's given to me. And my teammates were finding me, and they just kept finding me, and they knew that I was having a hot hand, so they just kept finding me throughout the whole game, and I appreciate them for that, and that just instilled so much confidence and trust in me.
When I spoke to folks in front offices around the league, they were shocked that the Dream were able to get you in the second round. I'm just wondering, from your perspective, do you use that on a day-to-day basis? Do you use it as motivation, or is it something that you just kind of put to the side?
I mean, obviously you want to get drafted high, but at the same time, the W is all about the right situation. And I got in the perfect situation as a rookie, so I'm really fortunate about that. And it's always about God's plan. He put me here in Atlanta, and I'm really excited. I was really excited for that, and I love Atlanta, and Atlanta loves me. So I just hope that this relationship can keep going.
It feels like it's a perfect combo of you and Jordin, Canada, in terms of you guys combining and being change of paces in all these different ways. How much do you feel as if the situation is specifically playing time based, that you guys are essentially splitting time at the one in so much of what you do?
I mean, that's all the coach's decision. Obviously, he has a great feel of the game, and he's going to do what he can to, help the team win. And, I'm just going to be ready when my name's called and just do what I do like the last game and just be prepared.
You told me back at South Carolina that playing defense in Dawn's system was going to help prepare you for the W. Have you felt that? Has that been the case so far?
I mean, most definitely, but the pace is way different in the league, and I'm still trying to get used to the pace and just how fast those screens coming, and you got to hear your bigs when they call out screens, because unfortunately I've had a few mishaps during the season that I haven't heard the screens, and I've gotten hit by a couple.
Understood. Yeah, hearing that will be important for sure.
Yeah.
You have championship experience. What does this team need to do to maximize where you want them to go and win a championship?
I mean, we just need to execute the game plan. I feel like we need to put a full 40 minutes of, great execution. I feel like we haven't been doing a good job with that, but I know that we're going to put two great halves together today, and hopefully at the end of the day we end up with a dub.
Awesome. Thank you. So that is our show today. Again, you hear from both of them. There's an intelligence to each of them. They understand how they fit within the coherent whole, which means that it's being well communicated to them by Carl, by Brandy, by this staff. Dan Padover knows what he's doing. Carl Smestro I mean, it's really a two-person race right now for Coach of the Year between Carl and Natalie Natese of Golden State. But if Atlanta finishes top 4, and I told you before the season, I thought there was a real chance they would, and they're even ahead of where I thought they'd be at this point. I think it's Carl's for the taking. So I'm going to have to figure that out. I will be a voter. I will be publicly accountable. You will know where I stand on this. And we will have a lot more to talk about this. So we'll be with you tomorrow. Elena Beard, fresh off an induction. I get to talk to her, catch up. We get to hear about all that she's been up to. Still do miss watching her as a perimeter defender, but much more to come. As ever, thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Howard Megdal. This is Locked On Women's Basketball. All of you have a wonderful Wednesday.
You are Locked On Women's Basketball, your daily podcast on women's basketball. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.